Christian started really well. We won the first set. I think we played pretty good volleyball, and I think we took our foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and they got that second set. And it was kind of a struggle for the rest of the weekend. I don't think anybody felt like we played great volleyball after that point. And then the Regis match, we were really competitive in the first game. We had an opportunity where we got them out of system on their set point. It was 24-23. We couldn't convert. And it just kind of the wind came out of our sails, and we didn't put up a lot of a fight in those last two sets. And I think Regis also gained a lot of confidence that they could stop our offense and that their offense started clicking. So it was kind of a double-edged sword that we weren't playing as well and that they really turned it on. So it was hopefully educational. They're where we want to be, and we just got to work at practice to try to get there.
And then this weekend, finally back at home, a couple of dangerous opponents. What do you know about them?
Not a lot yet. I haven't watched a ton of video. I know Black Hills is only a game behind us in the RMAC standings, and South Dakota School of Mines has beat Metro and Colorado School of Mines. So they're dangerous. There's also Dana Thompson's a local kid, wants to do really well against us, so she's going to be fired up, and she's having a good season. So we know enough about them that they're going to be a quality opponent, but we still feel, and I told them in a team meeting yesterday, that I really feel that the group that we have on our team is going to determine the outcome of the rest of the matches we play, and that's what I truly believe.
Questions?
Losing to a ranked team like Regis, what do you think you learned about your team?
Well, one, I think if we do it right, and we've kind of talked about that all year, that if we do it right, we can compete with teams like that. We just got to do it right more consistently. And then we've got to fight a little bit harder. I think when we get blocked or they made a really good play that we didn't respond, next point.
Right.
It's only 1 point. If they make a spectacular play, they don't get bonus points. They don't get style points. It's just a point. And that we've got to respond a little bit more aggressive on our side and with a little bit more fight.
I know in volleyball, starting off doing really well early on is very important. How important do you think it's going to be through the rest of the season to try to win that first set?
I mean, I guess I really haven't thought about that much, but I mean, volleyball is such a momentum sport, and I think we've had really good success at home, so I think it's not so much about winning the first set for us, but it's about kind of not losing at home, defending our home court. So it's more about that, and then just keeping that momentum. I think we get the best fans in the RMAC, that we get them involved early, that they're loud, and then it makes it really hard on the opponent. You guys have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think especially being at home, it's always helpful, but I think like we haven't had 2 home games. I mean, we've had 2 home games, but it's already end of October and we haven't had anything else, but I think it's in our favor that we're ending with more home games than starting with home games because of the momentum, and these are all huge games. Like, we have to basically win out, but so I think the home crowd and just being home really helps with that.
And I also feel like an advantage of us being home is, since our season has been a little rocky at times, especially lately, that our confidence is kind of down as a team, and so we're working on building that. And I think coming into our home court, knowing like this is where we belong, and like all the fans, and I think that really brings a lot of energy and confidence in ourselves, and I think that's a huge advantage to ending the season this way, or that way.
It's going to wear on you just being on the road for so long to start the season?
Yes. I think it's hard going into a lot of different gyms and a lot of them for the first time for like me, and having that new experience and having to play in front of like other people's crowds who necessarily don't really show up. Like, a couple of schools don't really have a large fan base, and we're such an energy-based team that we feed so well off of energy, so it's hard to pull that from just ourselves. And I think it also takes some stress on us for school and life and stuff, but I think we're handling it okay.
So it looked like watching the Regis match, once they kind of got the momentum, they really had you guys completely out of kilter for 3 or 4 points at a time, and just trying to get that rhythm going back on defense, because I know the way you guys can play defense gives you so much momentum. Is it just one of those things where you just kind of had to settle yourselves down and try to get back to what you do well?
I think that we need to work on that because against Regis they did get multiple runs on us and we never really showed up a fight until the last 5 points. Then we were on fire. So I think we need to figure out a way as a team to not get scared or shooken up if another team does something good because we're equally as good.
I was just going to add, I thought we played great defense, just like she said, after we just got to 20, when our backs were against the wall, but then it's too late. And if we just kind of have that same mentality from 0-0, we'll be fine against anybody. And I also want to go on record that Katie and I are the same height.
We talked about it.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Put her in a booster seat.
Yeah, I don't mind, but it looks like she's 5'4".
She's hiding from, it's the scouting report. They're gonna think she's small.
There you go, there you go.
That's right. So it's all about that. But, the balance, I know, on the front line, we've said it several times that it is a middle-driven team. But when you guys have balance, is really when it looks like you can really kind of take control. Did that just kind of go away at times on the road last week? And
I think it worked really well at Christian. I think our right sides played really well at Christian. Our middles we're in a funk right now, and it's just, I think it's because everybody in the country knows Mesa runs their middles. And so they're geared up to stop them, and it's just like, but we're confident in every one of our attackers. Sometimes it's Katie that goes off on the left, but you're right, if we get balance, if we get that, if you look at our box score when everybody's getting 13, 12 kills, it's going to be very difficult to beat us. And that is a key. Last year we kind of relied on the middles. They didn't know how to defend us, so both of them would have 25 kills and we'd get the win. But yeah, we do need more balance this year, and it's there, it's just we've got to find it. And we talk about it quite a bit. Just got off a video meeting with the setters and what makes our pin hitters successful, so we can have that balance. You want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd say balance is a huge key when we do beat teams, just because when we go to our middles, then they obviously triple block, but then it opens up for us. So if we find that even flow of then when we get blocked, or the pins, then go back to the middles, and it's really hard to beat us. So we just kind of have to find that even flow.
How much of that is kind of distributing the ball, or is it kind of just getting what you're given? Kind of the ball hitting to one spot, do you kind of try to force it to one side or the other, or do you kind of just take what you can get kind of approach? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the football analogy, we're going to hand it to our running back, and if we get 20 yards every time we hand the ball to them, we're going to keep handing it to the running back. If they start putting 8 man in the box, they start triple blocking us. We're going to start distributing to our pin hitters, and it's a constant thing. It's a constant ebb and flow. One of her jobs as a libero, she's actually supposed to key in the setter what the blockers are doing. So she'll actually communicate constantly with our setters after she passes the ball or after Katie passes the ball on what their block is doing. So the setter will have an idea where the gaps in the offense are going to be, or their defense or offense will be successful. You want to add to that?
I would agree.
How
That's why she's starting.
How have you learned that communication? Because it really does. It starts with you when you're in there, because usually you're the one getting the pass up.
I think coaches yelling at me to communicate helps a little bit, but also our setters are really good at kind of communicating with me about what they need. They're also pretty good at seeing the block, but they just also like to have me reinforce what's happening. And I think also though all our hitters are pretty good at looking and seeing what's happening on the block, so it's kind of just all a constant communication within each other.
Okay.
I also like how she holds the.
I know.
I was going to say the same thing. She went rock star with the mic in that last one, so.